桐生一馬という男の終着点として、このミレニアムタワーはこれ以上ない舞台でしょう。
ああ、俺もそう思っていた。
行くぞ、桐生一馬！
来い、エビナ！
At number 6 in our ranking, we have Masataka Ebina, the actual final boss of Infinite Wealth. Another bastard son of Masumi Arakawa, and someone who probably got the shortest end of the stick in this incredibly unfortunate family. Just like Ichiban, he had to suffer through a life as an orphan. But, unlike our frizzy-headed hero, he had the opportunity to know his mom.
Ebina's life was tainted when Arakawa took vengeance on his patriarch after the patriarch killed the love of his life so he could marry his daughter instead, so that he could have someone to inherit his clan. He killed the entire clan and abandoned the daughter his patriarch tried to set him up with, but little did Arakawa know, he bought condoms at the gacha store. Without any financial support nor any care from the clan that used to care about Ebina's mom, they tried their best to survive, but Ebina's mom got hit with a bad case of plot-required death. Her last words to Ebina were, "Son, don't be a hater," and Ebina being the sane boy that he is like, "Nah, fuck that." Ebina, unlike Ichiban, let all of his history define who he is, leading him into a life of vengeance for his mother.
He joined the police force and fought for the extermination of every Yakuza associated with the Omi and Tojo clan because of what they took from him, specifically Arakawa, and because Arakawa died, then the dissolution happened. He felt like his vengeance was stripped away from him. Then, Bryce came along and Ebina's murder boner grew 3 times the size that same day.
The plan was to distract all the leftover Yakuza with a job making them get rid of all the radioactive waste in Japan by sending it all to Nele Island, but little did the Yakuza leftovers know that they were each sent to their deaths, since they would, more than likely get cancer after being trapped with all the radioactive stuff on the island. Bryce was cool with this plan since now they couldn't leave any traces of his illegal activity on the island, while Ebina can taste that sweet but bitter fruit that he ever so wanted.
It was a good thing Ebina was a Yakuza in order for all of this to work. He originally joined in at the last second just so he could finally get his vengeance on his dad. But then he died, so now he was just in this for the long haul. He was able to guide every single down-on-their-luck Yakuza into this scheme. He also hired this asshole to fuck with Ichiban for some reason, in Hawaii. Funnily enough, though, in his pursuit of vengeance, he became just as bad, if not worse than the Yakuza, even adopting an Oni back tattoo, showing just how far down the rabbit hole he is, becoming a walking contradiction of his beliefs, all to justify his revenge.
Sadly, all of this cool shit going on with Ebina was all explained all in the last couple hours of the fucking game. Instead of getting tidbits of info throughout the fucking game, like a normal one, and instead of explaining this to the whole crew or Ichiban, his half-brother, by the way, this is all explained to Kiryu in a different part of the world.
That's one of the things Infinite Wealth didn't do right, and that was just servicing its final boss. Ebina got nothing before all this, just a few scenes of him being shady, then BAM! Apparently he was connected to a protagonist, that being Ichiban, who he only gets to see at the start of the game. All of this info would have been good to know beforehand, but then he just fights Kiryu. While I admit it is a fitting fight for Kiryu to fight the sins of the Yakuza, which is what Ebina is supposed to be, but at least give us an interaction with him and Ichiban, or a fight maybe, that would have been cool.
The fight itself is amazing. While Ebina's strength is debatable considering he lost to a cancer-ridden Kiryu and 4 other people, he still showed that he's got plenty of bite to go with his bark. The build of the music brings in that tension and them running at each other to clash in the air with them kicks will never be a disappointing sight in this series.
The gameplay is awesome. Ebina's ferocity shines through with every punch and kick, feeling like he is giving his all by throwing himself around. When Ebina is lowered to half health, you get a mid-fight cinematic of Ebina attempting to match Kiryu blow for blow. After losing that, he picks up a sword because he really wants Kiryu dead. To him, Kiryu is the shining representation of the Yakuza, honor and ideals incarnate. It makes him angry, especially since Kiryu is here to defend their sins.
Despite swinging the hell out of that goddamn sword, Kiryu being Kiryu snaps the goddamn blade in half after grabbing it with his bare hands. While Ebina is stunned, Kiryu pulls out every bit of his old Dragon and Dojima strength in one of the slowest but coolest QTEs in the series, giving it a minute to really amp up the punch that puts Ebina in a rough spot. Then the fight finishes with the two punching the fuck out of each other.
The sad part about Ebina is how he could have been one of the best bosses in the series if they had just given him his screen time. Why spend the entire game learning about the final boss fight when you could just learn about a cult that ultimately is just another throwaway group in the series? The building blocks were there, but RGG made the mistake of saving all of it for the climax. He has a personal connection to one of the main characters. He's got an insanely good backstory. He had all of these cool things, but he just didn't have enough appearances to make it worthwhile. All of that screen time was given to Bryce, who has no nuance or no interesting story to back him up whatsoever.
The fact he's even at this halfway point of the ranking speaks a lot about his potential. I hope he's brought back in Like a Dragon 9 as a part of the supporting cast. Or else he's just wasted potential like the previous Yakuza bosses who have just died or, disappeared. After Kiryu threatened him with a good time, everyone was just allowed to move on. He finally gave himself the opportunity to move on. I personally hope he's like a party member or in some way interacts with Ichiban later down the line. See you in the next video.